Well, good morning. Yeah, my voice is a little off. Not quite sure what's going on with that. I've been up for several hours, but I still sound like, I just got out of bed like, 5 minutes ago. Like when you get that early morning phone call, and it's really kind of like awkward because it's like 6:15 in the morning. Somebody decides that's when they have to call you. You answer the phone. You go, "Hello." Did I wake you? No, I've been up for hours. Yeah, really, you haven't. But I've got that voice that sounds like I literally just woke up. It's been like this all morning. I don't know why, other than yesterday I was working on an outdoor project where I had to mow an area that normally doesn't get mowed because we wanted to put something there. And I don't know if it was just the pollen, the extra hay fever, whatever it is. I got this going on with my voice today, so my apologies. Get yourself a cup of coffee. It's time for our Friday morning live here on the afternoon drive. I'm sitting outside today again because I love summer. I cannot get enough of this weather. And we're getting a light rain today, and I enjoy that. So I'm sitting out in my gazebo area, and so you might hear rain on the roof this morning, but that's okay. It's just a nice, relaxing day, and we're gonna have a little fun today. Bud Light continues to implode. They basically went radio silent on social media following the Dylan Mulvaney debacle, and there's no other way to say it than debacle. Um, they tried to come back through Anheuser-Busch commercials, pro America, pro working man, and it didn't help. They've refused to apologize, and so now they've come out with a new commercial just in time for the 4th of July, which is what, uh, is it really like a week and a half away? I mean, summer's going way too fast. For some of you, it's just getting started, depending on where you're watching this. Um, and so they come out with this commercial, and you can look it up. Uh, it's a bunch of rednecks, doing redneck stuff for summer. Only, of course, they're completely incapable of it. You see a fat guy in bare feet walking across hot pavement trying to carry a cooler. And then he realizes the pavement's hot, and jumps up on top of the cooler. Okay. You see two chicks, walking barefoot across stones, carrying a keg. Okay. Some other dude who can't figure out how to get in a hammock, and then another guy in the hammock that's obviously gay, checking out all the other guys that are there. It's like, what are you doing? Another redneck buffoon walks through a screen door because apparently he can't tell it's a screen door. Now, this is all supposed to be comedic. The problem is these people in their marketing department are so, talk about self-unaware. You have a corporate executive on video doing interviews, the VP of marketing talking about we've got to change from this frat boy image. We've got to change basically from your demographic, which a big chunk of them are what we would call MAGA people, or just, kind of down home, rural people, country people. And you do an entire ad flaming them and making fun of them and making them look ridiculous. Now, truthfully speaking, before Dylan Mulvaney, this same ad would have been considered hilarious. People would have talked about it in a good way on social media and on YouTube, and I probably would have taken a cut of it to use as one of my drop-ins occasionally on my podcast. But when you frame it in light of, you are basically saying with your Dylan Mulvaney campaign, you would rather have the fake woman over real people. And now when you do an ad, you make fun of real people. Hey, I dare you to make fun of trans people. Yeah, you're not going to do that. No. Insult us, attack us, make fun of us, those of us that enjoy, living where there's like scenery, country, make fun of us, and then think we're going to run right out and buy your piss water in a can. Give me a break. Uh, Whoever is in charge of your marketing needs to lose their job immediately. I'd fire the entire marketing staff because apparently they're just totally and completely unaware. I don't know if you're dealing with a Madison Avenue group that comes up with these campaigns or a group out in leftist Los Angeles. Don't know. But whoever you've got putting this stuff together, they're just making it worse. And you're getting so ratioed on your own Twitter feed. If you read, I can't even read the comments here. People are in response posting pictures of those who have transitioned and what their mutilated bodies look like underneath the clothing. And it's awful. And at some point, if you guys want to make a comeback, you're going to have to come out and say, you know what? We blew it. We apologize. Someone just posted, they hire those Harvard types. Yeah, they do. They do. Even the vice president of marketing, she's talking about, we got to overcome this frat boy image. Well, somebody went digging and found out that she attended a frat party while in college, and there's a picture of her doing shots out of a condom. What? Just what every father wants to see his daughter doing shots at a frat party out of a condom. And then she has the audacity to lecture us on what is and is not acceptable. Wow. But she absolutely, she was there to, rebuild the brand. You were number one. You're no longer number one. Now, I will say, I think it's Modelo Light. And again, I'm not a beer drinker. I just know from what I'm reading, Modelo Light has become the new number one light beer. And people jump to it because it's not American. And we can't support Bud Light. The problem is, the company that owns Modelo Light owns Anheuser-Busch. So you're really giving your money to the same people, just on a different page of the ledger. And I get it. There are so many companies that are so woke, you can't keep it all straight. Pardon the pun there. You can't keep it all straight because they're so woke. But there is this thing that people have latched onto with Bud Light and Target. And apparently the new put down, when I was a kid, we had little put downs we would use with each other, especially when a couple of guys, getting into it on the playground. You play ball like a girl. Today that would be saying, wow, really? Thanks, because that's what I want to be. My dad can beat up your dad. Those were the kind of put downs we had as kids. Apparently the new put down is your dad buys Bud Light at Target. But totally and completely unattached, unaware. And these are the same people that don't understand and have a disdain not only for all things traditional here in America, but they have a disdain for anyone who supports anyone like a Donald Trump. So when Paul Ryan, that feckless rhino, was recently asked about, the future of the Republican Party and Donald Trump and the impending indictments and all of that, he basically said, I want to see us return to what the Republican Party ought to be about, which is, there are bigger problems in our country than social issues. That is a direct quote from Paul Ryan. There are bigger problems than social issues. So he and the rhinos are not at all interested in what we call the culture war. They are perfectly willing to cede that ground to the left loons of this country. I remember a few years ago when I was on the radio in Orlando, and we were starting to get, it would pop up in the news once in a while, some couple, usually, yuppies in the Northeast or libloons on the left coast. We're going to raise our child non-binary. And that all came to a head when Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie had a child that they were not going to raise as a boy or a girl, but as a they, and they will tell us one day what they are. Okay. And of course, we made fun of that. Well, here we are now, how many years later, and it's now actually a thing. And the new Disney Pixar movie, Elemental, we have been introduced to a non-binary character for kids. The Transformers TV show now has a transformer, a truck that turns into a robot, turns back into a truck, is now a they, them. And they're explained to by a non-binary character, human, complete with their rainbow lunchbox, no propagandizing and trying to program children going on there, right? Non-binary. What a wonderful word to describe what I've always known that I am. What? And these are the people, shoving Dylan Mulvaney at us, shoving all of this culture crap at us, and Paul Ryan just doesn't think it's worth our time to talk about. Paul Ryan doesn't want to see us involved and engaged in issues like, should women have to compete against men who call themselves women? It's just, we have bigger problems. Like, we got to make sure we're funding the military-industrial complex, and Donald Trump doesn't want to do that. Donald Trump, you're saying a lot of things right now that we all understand, we like, and I'm going to get on this thing, and you guys hate it when I go here. I'm going to go here again. Donald Trump, I'm telling you, President Trump, you need that big issue, that one that literally grabs everybody's attention, like when you took that escalator ride. National health care. National health care. National health care. National health care. You will rally 2/3 of this nation. You'll even rally people on the other side who hate Joe Biden. National health care. National health care. The point to welfare. I'm not talking about the welfare state. Give me a break. How many people, how many of you watching are working? You're working. You're contributing. You're paying into society. You're paying your taxes. You're volunteering for Little League or the ASO soccer program. You're putting back into your community. You're putting back into life. You're working. And you don't have health insurance. Can't afford private insurance, and your company doesn't supply you with health insurance, or the insurance that you do get, a massive chunk of your check is missing every month to pay for it, for you and the family. And so basically, you're working just to have health insurance so that when you retire and you're sick, this is insanity. Please see past the rhino talking points on national health care. Get past it. President Trump, help us get past why are we spreading ourselves all around the world, involving ourselves militarily, literally, and everything? Why are we still in the Middle East 20 years later? Why are we defending all of these NATO nations who don't pay for any of it? It was Donald Trump who moved the Republican Party from being warmongering neocons into a, hey, let's have a strong military to make sure we're protected, but we're not going all over the world starting stuff and getting involved in everything. And that's why the military-industrial complex hates him. Now, President Trump, really one up everybody. National health care. National health care. I'm telling you, there is a way to do this that even the conservatives and Republicans who have been so propagandized to immediately have this knee-jerk reaction. We can't have state-funded health care, government-funded health care. When you begin to present it like, hey, you're working. You are making America great by the job you do every day. You go out there. You provide services that people need. You keep the country moving forward. You're taking care of your family. You're doing what you can to provide for them. Give them a decent place to live. You want your kids to have a good experience. And I'm going to fight there with you. I'm going to make sure that your kids aren't robbed of their education by CRT, critical race theory. We're not going to let the drag queens come into the schools and steal the hearts and minds of your children. I'm going to be right next to you fighting so that you can have that good life. And one of the things that I can do to pay you back for all that you do for your community, for your church, for civic groups, and the things that you do to rally your neighbors when another neighbor needs a helping hand. The thing that I can do for you is make it so that if you get sick or a member of your family gets sick, you don't have to lose everything. You don't have to lose everything. Yes, I agree. Providing home health care. There's so many alternative ways to lower costs, and Republicans constantly talk about that, and they do jack squat. Remember, Donald Trump campaigned on that initially, and when he got to Washington, he was flustered and fried that they were going to overturn Obamacare because that's all the rhinos had been talking about for, 6-7 years. And then he gets to Washington and finds out, you people have been campaigning and telling America we're going to repeal Obamacare. Every Republican candidate, including Ted Cruz, on day one, I will sign the executive order overturning Obamacare. But nobody thought in all of that rhetoric, well, what are we replacing it with? Well, what are we going to do with it? And so it imploded, and it made the Republicans look stupid. President Trump. National health care, national health care, national health care. Make Joe Biden go on the record and come out against it. There are so many Democrats that still think that, the Democrats are the party of the working people. Really? Like when Joe Biden crushed the railroad workers' strike? Still think he's pro-labor? When every major union in this country is already backing Joe Biden? Who was it that brought jobs back to America? Who was it that was making it problematic for American businesses to export all of their manufacturing and their jobs overseas? Who did that? Oh, that was Donald J. Trump. Who is it that took all those restrictions away and jobs and factories are being exported again to China? Who's doing that? Joe Biden, the Democrats. The Democrats who gave us NAFTA. What'd that do to the Rust Belt in this country? Mr. President, you've got the winning message on labor. You've got the winning message on the economy. Now go after those independents, those moderate Democrats, and even the young progressive liberals that are so disenchanted with the Democratic Party. You can get them with national health care. And get them on a couple other topics that they agree with you on, like, freedom of speech, letting people having the freedom to speak freely on social media platforms, etc., etc., etc. No more mandates. And President Trump, let me give you one more piece of advice. I know I'm way off the topic of Bud Light now. That's kind of why we do these live I'm very unscripted. Of course, I'm never scripted, but I always have a thought train. I have a couple of notes in front of me to make sure to stay on topic. Um, President Trump, you are going to have to own it a little bit on. I said in the very beginning that the pandemic was the Democratic plan to make sure you couldn't be reelected. And Joe Biden and the Democrats are going to spin this. You created the mandates. You did the warp speed on the vaccine. On the one hand, he wants to take credit for the vaccine, but on the other hand, he knows that politically speaking, it hurts you, especially among your base, to want to take a victory lap on the vaccine. So, President Trump, this can be explained to all of us, to your base, and to the rest of America very succinctly. Just say, look, every day I had Fauci and all of these people in my office and in my ear talking about Americans are dying, Americans are dying, Americans are dying, Americans are dying. And yeah, I have to be honest. I have to listen to all of these experts coming in, and they're all saying, you got to do something, you got to do something. Americans are scared. And sometimes when you're processing all this information so quickly, I did what I did because I thought at the time it was the best way to protect Americans based on the information they were telling me. And if I had it to do over again, I would do things differently. Mr. President, that's all you got to say. Because if he had not pushed the vaccine, and I'm talking all the Trump supporters now, the Democrats and the psychopath governors would have kept America in lockdown forever. President Trump was doing what he thought he had to do to quickly get things back to normal. And Mr. President, this is a personal thing. Take a shot at Mike Pence, saying he's a good man. He's not a good man. He had a chance to save the Republic on J6, and he took the traitorous route out. And now he wants to blame you for J6 for the Fedsurrection. Kneecap that guy and take him down. He is a traitor to the country. I'm getting sick and tired of his good boy, evangelical, born-again Christian image. Mike Pence is a demon and a devil, and I can't stand him. And I was saying that 2 years into the Trump administration, and Christians were coming up to me, Pastor Marty, what are you saying about Mike Pence? I said, he's the enemy within. He's Judas. I used to call him Mike Iscariot Pence. Iscariot? Yeah, Judas Iscariot. Or I guess I could call him Mike Judas Pence. Anywho, that's Friday. That's my rambling rant for today. I hope all of you have a fantastic weekend. And seriously, President Trump, national health care, national health care, national health care.